Vigilante. Well, it keeps happening. It's been 3 months since George Floyd, and how many people have been shot? And now, happened in Wisconsin yesterday, and
back several times. Tonight, he's in stable condition. 2 officers have been placed on administrative leave, and a warning: what you're about to see is disturbing. CBS's Molangi reports tonight from Kenosha.
This 20 seconds of video taken by eyewitness Rayshawn White shows the moment 29-year-old Jacob Blake was shot in the back by a Kenosha police officer. At least 7 bullets were fired. You can see as he walked to the driver's side of an SUV, an officer grabbing Blake's shirt as he got inside. Rayshawn White describes what happened before he started filming.
One officer had him in a headlock. He was pulling his arm. The other officer had him in a headlock, punching him in his ribs. And he kind of maneuvered out the way, and the female officer tased him.
Police were responding to a domestic disturbance call on Sunday evening.
Complainant says Jacob Blake isn't supposed to be there, and he took the complainant's keys and is refusing to give them back.
2 of the officers involved in the shooting were placed on leave during the investigation. Overnight, anger turned to vandalism. Some set city vehicles ablaze while officers in riot gear clashed with others. This incident comes almost 3 months to the day George Floyd was killed in police custody. Attorney Benjamin Crump represents the Floyd family, and now the Blake family too.
It is foreseeable that these things are going to happen if you continue to engage in racism and discrimination in your policies and practice.
The eyewitness, who didn't want to be shown on camera, tells us that Blake scuffled with police before the shooting and that he heard an officer tell Blake to drop the knife, although he never actually saw a knife. Today, the governor deployed 125 members of the National Guard here to help. And tonight, for a second night in a row, a curfew starting at 8 p.m. Nora?
Molangi, thank you.
Okay, so this is just how many times does this need to happen? And you even hear that CBS like, well, he might have had a knife, or just like, and you see the reports where they're like, well, officer involved shooting. No, they shot that guy. And you see the video footage, he just walks away and they just shot him in the back 7 times. They shot him in the back 7 times. And if a white guy did that, they wouldn't shoot him in the back 7 times. They'd disdain him. And then the All Lives Matter people go, oh, they kill unarmed white people all the time too. All the more reason you should want to defund the police. This is completely just insane and out of control. And how many times does this need to happen? I have to keep talking about this because it's just not ending. And if you're a cop and you're okay with watching that, and I don't want to hear it. Well, he resisted. They shot him in the back 7 times. Oh, he's resisting. Don't you holster your weapon, then you use non-lethal force? Don't you use a taser or something to bring him down, right? Administrative leave. Oh, and they were rioting. They set the city vehicles on fire. Yeah. What do you expect? I mean, that's like, if you're a cop, you should be thankful it was just setting cars on fire. Because I watched that video and I'm enraged. I'm a middle-class white guy with no criminal record and I don't own any guns, and it makes me enraged. It makes me want to just like, okay, we gotta just stop the police. Because nothing gets done. Nothing changes. And I'm amazed the whole neighborhood didn't just descend on those cops. I'm amazed at that. Like, hats off for their restraint. So I'm bringing this up for several reasons. One, this keeps happening in America. This is the brutality of America. This is systemic racism. Yeah, but he was responding to a domestic abuse. Did he deserve to get shot in the back? Okay, he was arguing with his girlfriend or whatever. Oh, so that means he deserves to get shot in his back? I've had arguments with wives and girlfriends. The cops have never been called on us, but if they were, I didn't deserve to get shot in the back. 7 times. Why this was brought to my attention because Jacob Blake is the nephew of a guy that I played football with in high school. And one of my teammates texted me last night with this. And Justin Blake is the uncle, and I believe it's his older brother, Jacob Blake, whose son of the same name. This is my understanding. Jacob Blake was the 29-year-old that was shot, and the man who was shot's dad went to my high school, but I didn't really know him. But I played football with his brother, Justin. And, I haven't talked to Justin in, 15, 20 years since I saw him at a reunion or whatever. But if I saw him, he's any of my teammates. If I've run into, I don't talk to a lot of people from high school, but there's a couple of guys I played football with that I see every once in a while and talk to. A couple of them live in LA, and we share that bond. And I'm bringing this up because, first of all, it's just horrific, and this is when we have to defund the police and just completely restructure how we train cops. Like any of the All Lives Matter crowd, or they're all few bad apple cops. Fuck you. I'm so sick of hearing that. And if you're a cop, this keeps happening. You're like, I'd be real careful, because whole communities are just going to rise up. And it's not going to be of video footage and throwing rocks at a protest and turning a car over. They're going to show up with guns because they don't feel safe. If I lived in the black community, I'd be like, oof, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. But so my teammate Justin, this is his nephew. This is my understanding. It was his nephew. And I have 3 nephews who are ages, 2 of them are 17 and one's 18. And I'm not as worried that a cop's going to shoot them in the back like that because they're white. That's the sad reality. My white nephews are obviously more safe. I mean, they still could get shot because the cops in this country are out of control and they can do whatever the hell they want. We've seen it in Portland, Seattle, LA, all these, neoliberal blue cities with these, liberal blue Democratic mayors let this shit happen. This is what happens when you reject applications to the police academy by people who have too high of an IQ. I did that story several months ago. They've rejected high IQs police departments have in this country. And the Supreme Court upheld it. A guy with a high IQ was turned down because of his IQ, and the court case went all the way to the Supreme Court. This was back in like 2010 or 11 or something like that. And the Supreme Court said, no, they can do that. And they said, well, we don't want high IQ people. We want people who are good at following orders. You mean people who are dumb enough and will just murder because they're dumb? Because you don't want somebody questioning authority. You don't want somebody going, hey, this ain't right. You want someone to just, hey, I had to do what I had to do. I'm following orders. That's what these cops say. I was following orders. The cops that beat the shit out of people at these protests, these Department of Homeland Security, these federal cops that just snatch people up in unmarked vans, say, I'm just following orders. That's what the Nazis said. That is exactly what the Nazis said. So they want dumb idiots on the police force. You got on the police force, maybe you're not that bright. Or you're just bright enough and you made it to detective or something like that. But so that's a guy I played football with. And again, I haven't talked to Justin in years, but my high school, Evanston, Illinois, Evanston Township High School, was 40% black. And one of the reasons I got to speak up is that the sign that I saw at many of the George Floyd protests, the ones I was at here in Santa Monica, the white silence equals violence. How do I look my teammate in the eye and say, hey, sorry, man. It's, what am I supposed to do? I'm a white guy. Sorry. Thoughts and prayers. I can't look them in the eye unless I say something, unless I speak up. I don't have Joe Rogan's numbers, but I got a platform here. I have to speak up about this. It's why I say this time and time again, get involved on the local level. Don't think the Democratic Party is going to come save you. They're not. my graduating class, the class of 87, and I'm very proud that these people organized this, did these five Zoom conversations for everybody of our class to have a conversation, an open discussion about race and really talk about, and a bunch of people that put it together, several of my classmates, my black classmates, put it together in the history of systemic racism in this country and how wealth is not transferred between generations in the black community because it's been suppressed and all this stuff. Like, and I was able to go to two of them because they were always on Monday nights when I was doing this show. And it was really like, I was proud of my classmates to see everybody there willing to hear it. Like white people, like, okay, we got to hear this. We got to, and this is, I've said this before on this show, white people, this is on us. It's not us to like come in and be the white saviors. That's not what I'm talking about. But we have to speak up more. We just have to speak up more. Because that's horrific what we just saw. It's horrific. That's somebody's nephew. That's somebody's son. And it happened. His own kids were in the car. So these cops just did this with kids watching. I mean, this happens all the time. I think George Floyd kids within the car. Like it they're just traumatizing. No care that there's kids there watching this. These cops think less of black people. They just do. And anytime they interact with the civilian population, they just look down and talk down, and they don't, sir. They won't listen. When you go, sir, actually, officer, that's not, sir. They just shut you up because they're dumb. They hire idiots. And if you're a cop and you think this is going to, and you just are like, oh, come on, Graham, it's a few bad apples. Okay. That's going to happen. And someone, rather than coming out of their house with a phone, is going to come out with a gun. And just say, no. A bunch of people are going to just storm a police. Like, it's going to get awful. It's going to get awful. So you better lead the charge of this ain't right. And this is why we have to get involved on the local level. Because cops, police departments, their funding is all done on the local level. The city of Kenosha's budget is that. So the taxpayers and registered voters in the city of Kenosha, everyone's all thinks the president, whoever's in the White House, will go wave their magic wand and, oh, Joe Biden's going to fix it or whatever. No. The Kenosha City Council is what can fix that problem. I've said this before. I don't know Kenosha's budget, but I bet you they get an exorbitant amount, and these cops aren't trained correctly. And they hire some small town white racist guy or whatever. Got ties to the Klan, something. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I talk about Los Angeles' funding. The LAPD gets 54% of the city's operating budget, $3.1 billion LAPD gets. And it goes for riot gear and up-armored vehicles and rubber bullets, and we have a horrific homeless problem. The police serve and protect the billionaire ruling class. You find me one goddamn cop. Find me one cop that shot an unarmed billionaire, put their knee on the neck of a billionaire. Find me one. All those Epstein, I'll be real clear with you. If that happened to Les Wexner, I'd be like, thoughts and prayers, man. So you're serving and protecting the ruling class. If you're a cop, you're not serving and protecting the people. How many more of these videos do we need to watch? I mean, I'm ashamed to look my black teammates in the eye. Like, I'm sorry, I haven't done enough. I've failed as a white guy. I just have not done enough. I've failed. I don't know how to look. I don't know what to say. This country is a abject failure. It's a country that we're desensitized to that. We see that happen all the time, every day. Once a week that happens. School shootings, thoughts and prayers. We bomb 7 countries. 85,000 dead kids in Yemen. 85,000 dead children in Yemen because we bombed them. It's the same thing. When you talk about the local police departments getting too much money, the military-industrial complex gets too much money for our foreign policy. It's the same thing. We've set poor people of color on fire with our bombing in the Middle East. We set them on fire. We sanction them, which is an act of warfare. We starve them to death. We're doing that to Iran and Venezuela in the middle of a pandemic. The whole world's trying to work together to find a vaccine and all this stuff. And what did we do? We sanctioned them. We made it worse. More people died in those countries because of us. And you're like, oh, Trump's evil, Trump's evil. Yeah, Trump is a fascist asshole and he needs to be out of power. But the Democratic Obama dropped more bombs than Bush. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Joe Biden wrote the 1994 crime bill. That's one of the reasons that cop is able to get away with that. That was signed by Bill Clinton, who's a pedophile piece of shit that's been on Epstein's plane 26 times. So's Joe Biden. So's Donald Trump. The whole system is broken. And the Vote Any Blue Will Do crowd that says the lesser of two evils about the Democratic Party, hey, Graham, the lesser of two evils, you sound exactly like the All Lives Matter people that say, oh, that's bad. But I mean, that's not systemic racism. That's just a few bad apples. You say it's the same thing. It's the same blatant, hypocritical denial. So Justin, if you're watching, man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't begin to know what your family's going through. If that happened to one of my nephews, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. I'm sorry. And to you and your family and my other teammates, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I feel like I should have done more. I don't know. I'm just a comedian. And that's why I've been doing this show the last 3.5 years, is to try to impact some sort of change and not just be a fucking game show host or whatever. But I don't know what to do when I see that shit. I don't know what to do. I'm not voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because they're both cops. They won't defund the police. Kamala Harris put 120,000 black people behind bars as district attorney or attorney general in the state of California. They get money from the private prison industry, which helps fuel that. We got to do better. I don't know what else to say. We got to do better. We just can't stand for this. We can't stand for this. We got to vote all these people out of office. We got to just say no. And don't accept like a concession or breadcrumbs or a table scraps. No. And if the guys in Minneapolis and this guy aren't convicted and sentenced, because they get a slap on the wrist and they get acquitted or time, Sorry. Thanks for watching the show. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey everyone, great ways to support the show are go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where you get bonus content for as little as $2 a month, or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. That's the future. Also, GrahamElwood.com, where all my merchandise is on sale and ships exclusively with the United States Post Office. Like my Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. We only made 50 of them. They're going fast. Go to GrahamElwood.com to support the show. I'm on Venmo and PayPal, P.O. Box, all of that, GrahamElwood.com.